Welcome back to Jarama. This is the highlights of the first of the Euro STC races this weekend. 4 rounds left in the championship, 2 here, 2 at Estoril, and the title still therefore wide open. Fabrizio Giovanardi leads the points from his teammate Nicola Larini. In third place, Gabriele Tarquini. And the difference is, well, Tarquini is 29 points behind, and as you can see there, Larini is, can't do the math, 7 points behind, is that right? Yeah, 6-7-13, that's about right. So Larini 7 points behind. Those are the championship contenders. Other changes may well happen up and down the order, but it's all about Tarquini versus the Alphas this weekend.
Gabriele, qualifying couldn't really have gone much better for you yesterday, with the 3 Hondas in the first 3 positions. Do you have any tactics to keep the Alphas behind you in the first race?
But the only tactics is to be faster than Alpha. I think that my teammate can help me, because they can put in the middle between me and Alpha. But the problem is to be fast in the start and all the race. This is the key.
Thank you, Gabriele.
So Tarquini, as he's saying, on the grid with his 2 Honda teammate, 2, yes indeed 2. James Thompson, the British Touring Car race, brought back into Super Touring. He's been racing the slower British Touring cars this year, and the Super Tourer, bit of a revelation for him, getting back into last year his old car, and joining Fabrice Valfish, who is of course Tarquini's regular partner. Thompson second fastest in practice, Valfish third fastest, and behind him is well, not actually the best of the Alphas. The regular drivers, Giovanardi and Larini, are down the order. The best place to the Alphas. Oh, there's a staller at the start. Staller at the start. And that was Carl Rosenblad in the Nissan, who was 4th quickest, I was about to say, in the practice session. And Felipe Massa, the Formula 3000 driver, goes inside Fabrice Valfish, as Valfish is slow out of the first turn. Massa goes ahead of him. Rosenblad gets away very slowly indeed there. Felipe Massa was 5th on the grid, and his teammate Fabrizio Giovanardi 6th, but Nicola Larini was only 9th. But look, there are 2 Alphas there, 3rd and 4th, so either Giovanardi or Larini has gone with Massa ahead of Valfish. Well, further back is the other Nord Auto car. There is of course a 4th Nord Auto car, which is Romano Bernardoni, who is towards the tail end of the field. But it's Tarquini from Thompson and a heavily tyre-smoking Felipe Massa, I think it must be, in 3rd place. There is Nicola Larini. Larini, I don't believe it, from 9th place on the grid, up ahead of Fabrice Valfish and into 4th place. Then Gianluca De Lorenzi in the orange and white BMW, Matt Neal in the red Nissan next up, then Roberto Colciaggio ahead of Fabrizio Giovanardi. Colciaggio down the inside of Matt Neal, just on the edge of the picture. Neal holds on, Colciaggio runs wide. Of course, he's got that 4-wheel drive system to try and hold on in front of Giovanardi, but Gio changes to the inside. He's down inside him. Giovanardi picks up the place there. It's all action on this first lap, David.
It is definitely the very first corner. We see them going in there. There's a bit of a touch there from Colciaggio. For some reason he's getting himself a bit of a bad name. He's been doing that in the Swedish Championship quite a lot this year. Carl Rosenblad, who stalled on the grid, he was saying that he's had a door-banging session most of the year with Colciaggio, and seems to be carrying it on. And we've got Massa off on the outside, cross. So close to taking his teammate out.
Oh, that would have been a 10-point naught from the Russian judge there, wouldn't it? Massa tiptoeing across the grass and nearly lancing into Nicola Larini. Well, the more bitter and hardened, let's say, sick and twisted members of the paddock were wondering when Felipe Massa would torpedo Gabriele Tarquini, but he very nearly torpedoed his own teammate there. And there's Fabrice Valfish off as well. Valfish has gone off at Le Mans, the corner that backs onto the paddock. If he'd gone through the tyres there, he would have landed in the team trucks, and that scrambles the safety car. So 3 laps in, Fabrice Valfish in the gravel there. You can see him being recovered and out of the race. Safety car on, and so now the end of lap 4. Safety car is off, and here comes Tarquini, hammer down. Thompson under pressure from Massa. Where's the rest of the field? Gianluca De Lorenzi in 5th place, with Matt Neal almost pushing him out of the final corner. Must have been absolutely fast asleep. What a ludicrous restart from De Lorenzi. Matt Neal will be spitting bullets in the Nissan, and is that I was going to say it's Giovanardi ahead of Larini now, so Giovanardi has really torn up through the order as the cameras were watching the race leaders. And the squeal of tyres from the camera at the first corner. No, De Lorenzi and Neil are still there in 5th and 6th, but no one else is near them. De Lorenzi, David, doing an absolutely shocking job at restarting there.
That was terrible. I don't know what he was thinking about. I mean, the lights were off in the pace car for a whole lap, and we could see what was happening, and he was just miles away. He just wasn't there along with the rest of them. But obviously Matt Neal's had to come together with somebody. You can see the rear bumper hanging off there, and now for some reason Philippe Massa decided to come in. He was coming back up through the grid from that bad spin that he had, but I think it could be a tactical move by the Alfa Romeo team to pull him in order to get him a good start on the next race.
Definitely. Tarquini still leading. Massa was down to the back of the field, but came up to 8th before they brought him back in on lap 12. And Matt Neal losing that bumper, I think, probably forcing his way eventually past Gianluca De Lorenzi's BMW. On to the last lap. Still the two Hondas, then the two Alfa. Oh, dear. They didn't really let Massa out at the right time there. He came in between his teammates almost, rather than between the Hondas, where he might perhaps have been able to, well, not do a little bit of damage, but just put a fly in somebody's ointment. But Tarquini, imperious here from pole position. As he said, the key for him to be quick from the first corner. Certainly the Honda team not resorting to any bully boy tactics, using their extra drivers to punt cars off the track, and the Nord Auto team refraining from that fairly obvious temptation as well. I think they both want to win the championship, and I think they both want to win it clean, these teams, and I don't think they want to get into having ringers just to knock other people off. That's not the way to win a championship. So Felipe Massa, well, you may wonder why bringing him in and dropping him right back to the tail of the field will have been tactical. Well, that's of course because the starting order for race 2 is how they finished race 1, reversed. So the slowest cars in the race, or the slowest finishers, start first, and the winner starts last ahead of all the retirements, of which that will surely be one. Giovanni Giulinelli in the number 10 Conrero Alfa. So Tarquini will start last of all the classified finishers, and in fact it looks as though Felipe Massa will probably be 2 or 3 from the end of the race, having rejoined a lap down. Tarquini wins race 1, Thompson second, and Giovanardi in 3rd place ahead of Larini. Matt Neal 5th, Gianluca De Lorenzi in 6th place. So job well done there by the Honda team and the Nord Auto team, while doing everything they could really, given that Giovanardi qualified in 6th and Larini down in 9th. 3rd and 4th, not too shoddy at all, David.
No, they did very well. They did struggle, the Alphas, in practice, but in the race they certainly made good use of it, and right up there, right behind the Hondas, giving them a hard time all the way to the finish flag.
Let's hear now from our race winner.
I mean, it was the best situation for us. Unfortunately for me, Wolfish disappeared after 2 laps. I don't know what's happened, but James make a really good job. He know very well the car. This is very quick, so he put me in the safe condition, so I can control the car, the tire and everything. So it was perfect for us. Thank you, Gabriele.
So the only thing that could have been better is he could have had David Leslie instead of Fabrice Valfish in the 3rd car, and he would have stayed on the road. Let's hear from Fabrice Valfish now, find out what did happen to him.
It was very easy to be second, and just kept the Alphas behind us, and you know, it's great for the team. They've done a fantastic job running the 3 cars, you know, so competitively this weekend. You know, and I think it helps Gabriele massively in the championship.
So Fabrice Valfish clearly looking an awful lot more like James Thompson. Obviously James's effect in the team is already rubbing off on the Frenchman. Thanks very much indeed to our coordination in Paris for that little link. So Fabio now leading from Larini and Tarquini, but the gap much closer. Giovanardi 5.25 to 5.16 of Larini, so 9 ahead, and Gabriele Tarquini 5.04, so only 21 behind the leader. And there are 40 for winning each of the 3 remaining races. Coming up after this will be the back-to-front start for race 2 here at Estoril at Jarama. Oh dear, they've put me off now completely. It's all going to pot. Don't forget, if you want to send us an email, the car guys, all one word, at Eurosport.com, and we will try and answer your super touring and super production queries in the next hour of the show. Join us for more in a moment. Eurosport Live at Jarama. The super racing weekends continue. Round 9 of the Euro STC. We're ready for the start of race 2 and the back-to-front grid, meaning that Massimo Poggioli is on pole position from Paolo Zadra. The winner of the race, Juan Gabriele Tarquini, down there, and Simon Walster is with him. Let's see what he thinks about the prospects for working his way through the field in race 2.
Gabriele, with the win in the first race, the championship really is now wide open. The start for this second race is going to be crucial. You've got to try and get past either Nicola or Fabrizio.
Yeah, sure. I think second race is much more important than the first one. In the first one I had the best condition to score a victory, and I scored the victory. James was second, so very good for us. But this is another story.
Thank you, Gabriele.
And David, one of the factors of this year that has produced lots of interest and excitement is this back-to-front grid. The drivers weren't really keen at the start. They said it would take them a long time to work their way through the slower cars, but in fact it has produced some good racing, and they have been able to work their way up the order as well. Let's hear now, if we can, from Fabrizio Giovanardi. The championship leader will start just a couple of places ahead of Tarquini. In fact, right in front of him there on the grid, you can see the 3 Hondas. Right in front are the 2 Alphas of Tarquini, of Giovanardi and Larini. So there is Giovanardi's car. Let's see if we can grab a word with him, find out what he thinks about having the Hondas behind him now.
Fabrizio, you managed to get onto the podium in the first race. Gabriele has just said that he thinks that this second race is going to be even more important. How do you plan to keep Gabriele behind you?
I'm not worried because the car was good in the first race. I'm really confident for the second race. I have to attack, I have to be in front of Gabriele. I think the championship will be near.
Thank you, Fabrizio.
So clearly the car better, David, the Alpha, in the race than it was in qualifying, because they were struggling in qualifying against the pace of the Hondas, but the Hondas haven't got any slower.
No, they haven't. They're very quick. They've had a good weekend here. Their car suits this circuit. It's a very good turn in on the tight corners. There's a lot of these tight corners here. They struggle a little bit, talking to James, who was struggling a little bit through the really fast corners with the rear of the car, but it's been good from the start, and the Alphas somehow or another have managed to find a little bit extra pace for the race, which is good because it's making it really exciting rather than having them away down in the grid like they were for the first race.
18 car field, I think. I'm not quite sure. Behind the winner, Tarquini, we have 3 cars. Marcus Gustafsson's Nissan that didn't finish the race, Fabrice Walfisch's Honda, and the car that didn't start, Heinrich Samanchik in his Opel, was having an engine change after the warm-up and so missed the first race, but he is starting right at the back of the grid. So 3 cars behind Tarquini and Thompson, or Thompson and Tarquini, who are the last 2 cars that finished the race on the grid. Can't see the end of the pit lane to see if anybody will join in from there, but it looks unlikely. So there are a couple of cars that won't make the restart. Angelo Lanciolotti and Roberto Colciaggio. Nicola Larini's car there with damage on the front, hastily, well, not that hastily taped over, but taped over. Sergio Sambataro won't start either. Of the 22 cars that practiced, we should have something like a 19-car field, I think. The only question mark is over the number 10 Alpha of Giovanni Giulinelli, who should be starting 4 cars back. I'm having to count this backwards, the grid, from the result sheet, because I haven't published a grid sheet, so I'm not quite sure if he's there. Is that a white Alpha second row back? No, it's not. That's a Nissan's rear end, isn't it? So that is Rosenblad. So Giulinelli not taking the start. We saw him go off at the end of the first race, and although he was classified, I don't think he's restarting. So that is Rosenblad, 4 back, second back on the second row. So no Giulinelli, which means there are, well, count them, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Tarquini is 15th on this grid. Points go down to 6th place. Plenty of overtaking to be done in this race then by these guys. And although it is a tight track, there are a couple of hairpin corners and a couple of well-designed braking areas, David. So passing the slower cars, although it won't be the matter of moments, it's certainly possible, I think, for the fast guys.
It is. They've shown throughout the year they've been able to get past them. And some circuits, certainly some of the very much quicker circuits, like Monza, for instance, they were able to get past them almost within the first 2 laps. I think here at this circuit, at Jarama, it's going to be somewhat different. It's going to take them a little bit longer to get up there. You have, of course, got one of the quicker drivers right near the front, which is the third, or the fourth, shall we say, Alfa Romeo of Felipe Massa. Now he's starting third. He's on the right-hand side, second car back from the front there. So he, I think, will be wanting to get out there and simply drive off into the lead. And if his teammates can make it through towards second or third, I'm sure he'll move over towards the end of the race and let them score as many points as possible.
Yes, that's a guaranteed place for them, effectively, and Tarquini has not got Fabrice Valfish, who didn't finish the race as a classified finisher, in that position right at the front of the field, so he has to make up every place. They are guaranteed to be given at least one, because whatever else happens, Felipe Massa will pull off and park the car if necessary to allow them to pick up that place, whatever it is that he's holding.
I think what he'll want to do is not to pull off and park, but certainly move over and let one of his teammates through and then pull in behind them to try and put as many points as possible between the Alfa Romeo drivers and the Honda drivers.
Yeah.
But then again, that's why both teams have brought in an extra driver to do exactly that thing. So it's a championship that both teams are trying very, very hard to win indeed.
And so far the battle is good and clean and all about speed in the racing. Well, they're on the warm-up lap now. Here is the grid. Massimo Piccioli ahead of Paolo Zadra in his BMW. Felipe Massa, the joker in the pack for Nord Auto this weekend, ahead of Carl Rosenblad, who could well go well here in that Nissan. It's a quick car. Romano Bernidoni, the fourth Nord Auto car, ahead of Moreno Soli, Mikko Lemponen and Eric Kerol. And Kerol might be hard to pass as well. We've seen him have some good races, particularly at Magny-Cours. Sandro Sardelli should also go quickly, ahead of Gianluca De Lorenzi. Matt Neal will be desperately trying to get past the BMW again, but this time from the other direction. And then Larini, Giovanardi, Thompson and Tarquini. They are the key players, really, in this drama, along with Felipe Massa. And, well, Tarquini will have to be very careful about Gustafsson from behind. Shouldn't have to worry about his teammate Fabrice Valfish. And I don't think Valfish will be able to be really an awful lot of benefit to him here. And until Tarquini has passed an Alfa, nor really will James Thompson, in fairness. Fabrizio Giovanardi in the number one championship-leading Nord Auto Alfa Romeo. He is leading the points at the moment, coming round onto the grid. This reversed lineup for the second of the Euro STC races here, round 9 of the championship at Jarama, just north of Madrid. On pole position, Massimo Piccioli in the Audi, Paolo Zadra alongside him, then Felipe Massa third in that red Alfa. On the right-hand side of the picture is Carl Rosenblad's white Nissan, then Romano Bernidoni, another of the Nord Auto Alfas. So, well, we talked about Massa, but David, of course, that's two guaranteed positions there. As we see the cars queuing up to leave the pit lane at the back there, you can see Colciaggio, you can see the Alfa there of, I think, two Alfas, isn't there? Two Conrero Alfas, so that'll be Lancialotti and Giulianelli, both there starting from the pit lane. So, taking Bernidoni into account, effectively that's two places that the Nord Auto drivers are guaranteed from the cars ahead of them, because it's their expendable teammates in that position. And again, more Alfas now than before for Tarquini to try and work his way through, effectively solo, because Thompson can only work as a rear gunner. Reds Rise getting ready to go for the start, and it'll be interesting to see how the cars at the tail of the field go. Away they go, and immediately, well, Gianluca De Lorenzi going there, and there's a staller. That's one of the BMWs. That is Moreno Soli. So one car less for them to worry about. Massa in second, Bernidoni in fourth. And Matt Neal's off. He's pulled off, and there's, I would think that's probably a drive shaft or clutch failure. Let's see where the Nord Auto cars and the Hondas are, right in the middle of that big glinting pack as they swing through the corner named after Achille Varzi, down to the long left-hander at Le Mans. Oh, lock up at the back, but there are the Hondas on the outside. That must be Tarquini, surely, and I think he's ahead of one of the Alfa Romeos, and Thompson's gone by as well. And there is the 26 car off, and that is...
that's Rosenblad.
Yes, that's Carl Rosenblad.
He'd made a bad start in the first one by stalling it on the grid, and then he was in the same position starting fourth on this one, and has gone off again.
Tarquini and Thompson ahead of both Alfas. Well, I can't see four Nord Auto cars there. Here is Tarquini diving down the inside of who, and Thompson is ahead of him. So Thompson is doing the snowplow job, David, and I mean, that's sensible. That's the other That was the other Nissan that they dived past as well, wasn't it? Who is...
We think it's Bernardoni making a bit of a chicane or a queue at the front, and everyone's queuing up behind us to try and get past.
Well, there is the 3-car of Romano Bernardoni, and inside has gone Gabriele Tarquini with James Thompson. So he's gone past both of them, and I think that is the 2-car. Nicola Larini is between them. Now he's back in front of Tarquini. So Larini is really fighting hard for this one. Who cares about the crowd? We know they're watching. Second of the red cars. That now must be Fabrizio Giovanardi. Yes, it is Giovanardi in 6th place. Then Thompson, Larini and Tarquini in that next little bunch, and has... Yes, I think Tarquini has got past Larini, so Massa leads. I think we can safely discount the BMW of Paolo Zadra fairly quickly. Massa leads. Then the best placed next Nord Auto car is Giovanardi in 6th position, so still plenty of work to work themselves up into those really big point scoring positions at the top of the field. And Tarquini was across the line in 9th ahead of Larini. Thompson was 7th at that stage, and right on the tail of Giovanardi, and we're right with Giovanardi, having trouble with Gianluca De Lorenzi. This is for 5th place, and De Lorenzi we saw was really tough for Matt Neal to pass, and he's not giving Giovanardi any room at all, no favours at all there. Right in front of us there is Massimo Piccioli's Audi. He was, there it is, right in front of Tarquini. And Giovanardi bottled up behind the BMW. Tarquini now 2 cars behind him. So has Tarquini passed Thompson? It looks as though he probably has, now that they're in sight of Giovanardi. Well, this is a really chaotic race, David. Giovanardi here still can't get past De Lorenzi. And De Lorenzi, we've seen his BMW good enough for 5th or 6th overall, so it's not the slowest car out there. And they're right behind. That is Tarquini, and right in front of him is Giovanardi. So Tarquini right behind the points leader. Then is Thompson further back, and another couple of cars behind him as they cross the line. It's Larini, and look, right behind Larini is Valfi. So Larini in trouble here. Giovanardi is the better placed of the Alphas, as he is in points, as they come across the line.
That's Sardelli with the Nissan, just gone through his second, with Giovanardi following him through. So they are past the BMW. The BMW is now stopped in front of Tarquini, so he's now got that problem of trying to get past. There's Giovanardi going straight past Sardelli without a problem, and Tarquini straight past the BMW as well.
Well, I almost said that was a big break for Larini getting by there, and Tarquini might be held up, but in fact they've done a good job, both of them there, to pass their respective cars. And as off goes the 16th car, that is Eric Cairol. So he is back off the grass. And
you did say that he wouldn't be too big of a problem.
I'm not sure that wasn't Nicola Larini nearly sideswiped as he came back on there either. So Massa leads, Sardelli 2nd, Tarquini 3rd?
No, we've got Zadra still 2nd.
No, Zadra's not there. That's Sardelli right in front of us, the Nissan. So is that... Oh no, you're right, yes, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, first and second for the Alphas.
Giovanardi, then Sardelli, then Tarquini.
Tarquini's 4th.
And right behind Tarquini, well, it's a really fast changing order. It may even yet be Thompson, or perhaps De Lorenzi. De Lorenzi is there as Tarquini goes past Sardelli. What a great race. Whoever poo-pooed this idea of starting them back to front, I'm sorry, it may not be pure motorsport, but it is fantastic, pure racing. This is great stuff. Oh, so 3 laps of frantic swapping of places. Massa, Giovanardi in 2nd, Tarquini right with him in 3rd, Sardelli 4th, De Lorenzi in the BMW 5th, Zadra in the BMW 6th, Larini in 7th ahead of Thompson in 8th, Valfish in 9th, and now Thompson and Valfish have got to get ahead of Larini to do some really good points denying here for the Honda team.
We could see there that De Lorenzi had managed to get past Sardelli. So those two have got their own little championship they're fighting for, like a junior championship that's out there. Sardelli's leading at the moment. He knows he's got to keep on scoring points and not to worry about De Lorenzi. So with a bit of luck, he should just simply sit behind him to the finish and collect a few more points towards his championship. But up front here, we've now got these 2 Alfa Romeos. We know Massa will, at the end of the day, move over and let Giovanardi past in order to give him the maximum points possible, but here in third place and catching, by the look of it, is Tarquini catching Giovanardi.
Well, Giovanardi, now the onboard doesn't show it so much, but he's been using such a bizarre line out of the Bugatti hairpin where we just came out, coming out really tight instead of allowing the car to drift. Now, excellent apexing there by both men through Monza and then through the tunnel turn onto the straight they come. And yeah, certainly the speed of the Honda. The Honda is very good around the front end, David, you're saying, and that seems to be working very well for it here. Into the braking areas, through the tight stuff. It's got the advantage under braking and on traction out of the tight stuff, and it can certainly hold its own in the fast corners as we've seen all season. So Tarquini in perhaps the better car. Now, who plays the master tactician game here? He is closing up on Giovanardi, but out front Felipe Massa, and I almost get the impression that Massa is biding his time and waiting for Giovanardi to arrive, because by rights, with his speed in practice, he should be long gone by now.
He should be, but I'm sure he's here to help in a very much a bigger game plan. And if they can let one pass, there he goes. And will Massa come back? No, Massa's been left out, hung out to dry on the outside there. I expected Massa to slip in between the two cars to try and take points away from the Honda, but maybe that was just a big mistake and he left far too big a hole there, and Tarquini went through, but Tarquini certainly seems to be the quicker of the cars at this moment in time. So that extra driver that Alfa Romeo brought in seems to be using to his best of ability to try and take points away from the Honda team.
Well, it may be that Felipe Massa made a mistake, but you were expecting him to try and jump in front of Tarquini, and I guarantee that Giovanardi was as well. Now, Giovanardi actually using the wide line out of Bugatti for the first time, but only because Tarquini was inside him. So Tarquini all over the back of Giovanardi, and from umpteenth on the grid, 16th or 15th on the grid, I think Tarquini is just about to take the lead now as they come to start lap 5, 4 laps in. And Giovanardi from Tarquini, maybe not this lap, but the Honda is very, very close indeed.
You can see a very defensive line from Giovanardi down the inside there. Maybe that'll let him wide, and not quite enough room up the inside. He tried so hard, he managed to hit him, did Tarquini there. But Tarquini, you can see, he's trying to outstrike him. He's got the headlights on. He switched them on the lap before. We should have hit the switch when we were watching from inside the car to just try and take the attention away from Giovanardi to make him look elsewhere. But taking some very tight lines to try and come out the corner a little bit quicker is Tarquini to try and get past Giovanardi. But Giovanardi's been around a long time. He's won championships before, and he'll know how to make his car extremely wide and take that track up and try and keep that first place all the way to the finish. We're only on lap 5 out of can't remember how many laps it is. I think it's 15 laps or something.
Well, he will be a very, very happy man if he can hold off Gabriele Tarquini all the way around, because Tarquini certainly looks to be quicker than the Alphas here. And Giovanardi using all the curb and half the infield there as he came down the hill towards Bugatti. Now again, defensive line, but he runs out wide now to the right-hand side, doesn't he? Because he's defending the run up to Monza, just in case Tarquini can somehow try and scrabble through there. Tarquini comes out wide, now cuts in very tight over the curbing. Really pushing now down this little incline through the tunnel turn. No hint of a lift in these Super Tourers, snicking it up the gearbox with a full power on up change, and he's even closer this time behind Giovanardi as they come across the line. 0.13 of a second. Tarquini right there, Giovanardi on the brakes. Tarquini stays out there, he goes out wide, he'll cut inside Giovanardi again. Giovanardi knows he'll do that, and Tarquini can't find a way through. This is great tactical racing by both men. Tarquini all over the back of the Alfa, showing his nose, inside, outside, both sides in the corner if he can, to try and, one, plan a move on Giovanardi, and two, disguise it by not letting Giovanardi know where it is in advance by trying it too many times. And now look at that, out of the hairpin at Farina, how much he closes on Giovanardi under acceleration, up the hill here, through the left-hander at Pegaso, and the long climb up through the S's at Ascari. Little lift here, and then full flat all the way up to Portago. Wow, this is great racing. Behind them, Massa still in third. Di Lorenzi holding on to fourth, ahead of Larini and Thompson, fifth and sixth. Then Sardelli and Valfish. Valfish needs to get himself up the order a little. There are Larini and Thompson, and for Tarquini, James will need to get in front of Nicola, and if Gabriele can get in front of Fabrizio here, then that will certainly help his championship struggle, that extra margin.
There's such a fight going on, not only here for first and second as we see, but even for second and third, because Di Lorenzi's really got himself switched on with that BMW, and he's giving Massa a really hard time. He's all over the back of him, trying to get past him.
Fantastic stuff from the race leaders, and we saw that little contact earlier on when Tarquini dived to the inside 2 laps ago at this first corner inside Giovanardi. Giovanardi shut the door on him, and that was a racing incident, one driver going for a gap and the other one denying him. That was not Tarquini thumping him up the backside. Now he's alongside. He had a better run this time. He's inside, and although Giovanardi gives him no room, still he just manages to weave through. But look how much quicker he went in there into Le Mans. He slides wide. Giovanardi can't come down the inside. Farina hairpin. Giovanardi now all over the back of Tarquini, and Tarquini desperately defending as he tries to resettle himself and pull back a little bit to get back into the rhythm that he needs, as he had desperately flown into Varzi too quickly to take that lead. So Giovanardi now second, and it's Tarquini who leads. Massa in third, Di Lorenzi fourth, Larini fifth, Thompson in sixth position. Still the 3 championship contenders in the top 5 positions, and the 2 men they brought in to help them there as well. And Gianluca Di Lorenzi in 4th place with Felipe Massa in front of him. 8 laps into round 9, the second race here at Euro STC at Estoril, if that makes sense. Second race of the weekend for the Euro STC cars. No, it doesn't, I know. Gabriele Tarquini leads, and while we're away at the break, although Fabrizio Giovanardi is in second place, significant changes behind. Felipe Massa, the extra driver brought in by Alfa to try and help Larini and Giovanardi, was in third ahead of Gianluca Di Lorenzi. But they were all being caught by Nicola Larini there and James Thompson. So Felipe Massa pulled over and allowed them all to go through. He's dropped 3 places, doesn't matter. He's not here to win races or score points. He's only here to help his teammates by denying Tarquini points. With Tarquini in the race lead, his job is done. Now his job is to get out of the way of Giovanardi, which he's done, and Larini, which he's done, and allow them to score maximum points on their own recognizance. The problem for Larini is James Thompson behind him is looking threatening, and the problem for Larini is twofold, because in front of him is Gianluca Di Lorenzi, who has a position that Larini would like to score points from. Closer to Giovanardi, closer to Tarquini, limiting the damage of Giovanardi, the points leader, ahead of him, and Tarquini, the man who's chasing, also ahead of him. And we're on board now with Tarquini leading the race.
Yeah, Tarquini seems to have got into his stride. We can see he was actually quicker than what Giovanardi was, and now having got past, he's starting to stretch that lead a little bit. He's now up to 1.8 seconds, so another half a second on that lap he pulled out over Giovanardi. So the real battle now is for a little bit further back. Where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4th and 5th. Larini and Thompson, that's where the battle is at the moment, and Thompson will be desperate to try and get past Larini, just to try and take some more points away from him. And if he can do that, then that will help Tarquini try and get the second place in the championship at this weekend here at Jarama, before we go to the last meeting of the year in Estoril.
Certainly will. And James, who drove this car, of course, so successfully last year in the British Touring Car Championship, now reunited with it for the first time in nearly 12 months, right behind Larini. And Larini is looking, his car's certainly looking a lot more nervous than the Honda. The Honda really seems to be much better planted, as we've already seen. It has better traction, the car, per se. And Tarquini on his last lap, 0.7 of a second quicker than Giovanardi. So he opened up the gap from 1.1 to 1.8 seconds. Thompson, I'm sure, would be quicker than Larini, is quicker than Larini. The problem is he needs to find a way by. And James, having been out of these cars for a year, perhaps, well, I'm not going to suggest that he can't find the limits, but perhaps just not as ultimately confident in it as he might have been had he been racing all season. Still doing an excellent job, and let's face it, Larini has been racing these cars all season. James Thompson is giving him a very serious working over, and is, as I said, probably even quicker. Thompson looking at the inside. Yes, he is. He's going to... There you go. I just mentioned that he may not have the ultimate confidence in the car and in himself in it, and there he goes, makes a move on Larini, and he's still with him. Now Larini has the advantage up to Le Mans, but through Varzi, they go and change places. Thompson gets ahead and Varzi, I'd forgotten there was a right-hander before the left-hander at Le Mans after the first corner. Now at Le Mans he goes through, so in fact, David, a carbon copy of the move that Tarquini put in on Larini, on Giovanardi to take the lead, where he set it up out of the first turn, made it through the right-hander, and then held on at Le Mans. So, good work.
They certainly seem to have some very good grip on those Hondas on the tighter corners, so that hairpin at the end of the start and finish straight, they can really tuck in tight coming out of there and get out of there and move away. And now we see patch on the side is Sardelli. He's been into the pits once to have something done to the car, I'm not sure what, but whatever it was, it obviously wasn't good enough, and the marshal making some sort of sign to say there's a problem with the steering or something. So that's him out, which is a bit of a pity. He'll lose some points by not finishing this race.
Well, all he needed to do was to stay on track, and unfortunately hasn't been able to do that. And, well, broken steering. Normally in Super Touring racing you would have to say that is the result of contact with somebody either on the run-up to the start or in traffic while fighting. So on board with Giovanardi, and as we turn right here, you will see the race leader in front of him, but disappearing fast into the distance is Gabriele Tarquini. 139.3 his last lap, 139.7 Giovanardi's last, so Giovanardi's slowing again. And Thompson now, look, how much quicker he is than Larini. He is now 1.3 seconds ahead of Larini, and don't forget he was behind him at this point a lap ago. He's chasing De Lorenzi and catching him. De Lorenzi's last lap, 139.5. James's last lap, including passing Larini out of the first corner, 139.0. So no question that Thompson is quicker, and I'm sorry for even questioning his commitment or his confidence in himself in the car. He has certainly proved that he has got all the confidence he needs. He's always been an exuberant racer, James Thompson, and is proving to be exactly that here again. Now, he's done a great job by robbing Larini rather of as many points as he can by being in front of him. He will do no real difference to Tarquini's score by passing De Lorenzi, but David, in the remaining 4 laps, that does open up the can of worms that perhaps, just perhaps, he might be able to catch and pass Giovanardi.
He'll be trying very hard, but he's got De Lorenzi to get past first. De Lorenzi, we've seen already, is very difficult to pass. De Lorenzi is actually catching Giovanardi at the moment as well, so he's closed that gap up. So the second, third and fourth cars are actually very close together. But in actual fact, this race we've discovered is 13 laps long, and we've done 11. So here we are coming round now on the 12th, just starting, what I would see is to be the last lap. So very little time left to try and get those positions.
So Tarquini leading, Giovanardi second, De Lorenzi with Thompson right behind him. Now, unfortunately for Tarquini, if for some reason De Lorenzi doesn't finish, that's bad news, because Larini scores better. So what I'm saying here is, Thompson, if he goes past De Lorenzi, doesn't matter, there's still 2 cars further back Larini from, or in fact 4 cars further back Larini from Tarquini. However, if Thompson accidentally tangles with De Lorenzi and somehow knocks him off, or God forbid takes both of them out, then Larini goes from 5th to 3rd in one fell swoop. So for Tarquini's point of view, the best thing that James can do right now is stay where he is and deny Larini rather than worrying about De Lorenzi. But James, as we know, is a racer, and if he can pass De Lorenzi on the run to the flag, I guarantee he will try and do it. Second is the red car there of Giovanardi. Third is De Lorenzi. Fourth is Thompson. Race leader out front, Gabriele Tarquini, by 2.5 seconds. And now look, De Lorenzi. Now this would be even better. De Lorenzi there ramming the back of Giovanardi's car. And De Lorenzi is going for second. He wants to take second from Giovanardi. I don't think he'll have the run to the flag to do it. It's too short, the distance out of the final turn. It'll be victory number 2 of the day for Tarquini, but it will be a close run thing. Giovanardi second, De Lorenzi third, Thompson in 4th place, Larini 5th, and Felipe Massa in 6th position. So a great drive in race 2 by Gabriele Tarquini. Richly deserved victory there. The Honda working well, and Gabriele, the former British touring car champion, using all of its undoubted abilities. Good damage limitation too by points leader Fabrizio Giovanardi and by Nicola Larini. 5th place, not what he would have hoped for, but it was as well as he could manage in that one. And James Thompson doing a sterling job in that second Yasport Honda in 4th place. And Gianluca De Lorenzi, well, hats off to him, the top amateur driver, and holding on there for a place on the podium, 3rd place in this race. Wow, time to draw our breath, David, but great job by Gabriele there, no question about it.
Fantastic. He's come out here this weekend. He knew he needed to win 2 races. He knew he needed to score points more than the others and try and get that championship position turned around from being 3rd into reducing the points as much as possible towards the leader. On my quick mathematics that I've done on that last lap while they were going round, I now put it that Giovanardi's got 560 points and Larini and Tarquini are together on 544 points. So there's only 16 points now separating the top 3 people with 2 races still to go.
And with 40 points for the victory in each of those races. So 80 points up for grabs, 16 points separates the top 3. Even if you're a couple of points out, still a great situation. I have to say, given my mental arithmetic, I wouldn't hold much hope out for the point standings if I'd worked them out, but David has not been wrong yet so far this year. So Gabriele Tarquini with 2 victories here, narrows the points margin and moves into joint 2nd place with Nicola Larini. And there is the decisive move that gave him victory here in race 2 in round 9 of the championship. The Super Touring cars have done their stuff, and the Super Production cars yet to come. Plenty of different sights and sounds for you here in every Super Racing weekend. The FIA GT race with its wide variety of different makes and models involved in the 2 classes there, the GT and the NGT classes. And of course the Super Tourers, again, a wide variety of different machinery, and in Super Production as well, yet more different cars. And David's arithmetic spot on, just as his driving always is. Giovanardi leads by 16, Larini and Tarquini tied. Well, great stuff by the Yasport team, and some mighty exciting racing there in that 2nd race. Well, congratulations there from his amateur team for Gianluca De Lorenzi. And David, those richly deserved as well, I think. He did have the advantage of starting ahead of the others, but in fact he was only 6th from the back, so he was only 5 cars ahead of eventual race winner Gabriele Tarquini. A great drive through the field by De Lorenzi, who's getting more and more combative with every race.
He is. He's been getting better all season, and certainly towards the end he's really been making big strides forward. And in that race, you know, he was right up there, and he was catching Giovanardi towards the end and giving him a real hard time. Absolutely fantastic.
Look, they're talking through it. Giovanardi going, oh, the back of my car was off the ground. Gabriele, he said, look at my car.
2 wins out of 2 for you, Gabriele. The day couldn't have gone much better. It was a fantastic battle you were having there with Fabrizio.
Yeah, it's true. My car seems much more competitive than the car than Fabrizio today. Unfortunately for me, he scored a 2nd and 3rd place, so I don't gain a lot. But it will be a big battle on the last round. This gives more attention to this championship, and I think it will be good.
But you aren't now. I think after today's results, you have moved up into 2nd in the championship.
I don't know, to be honest, but I want to think race by race. I want to win. I want to win both races in Estoril, and after, if Giovanardi scored the same, it's good. Will be good for Giovanardi.
Thank you, Gabriele.
Well, maybe we'll get a chance to talk to Giovanardi, who has worked hard for his living there, hasn't he? Bathed in sweat. Let's catch up with him, but he clearly very appreciative of Tarquini's move there. Really liked that race.
Fabrizio, Gabriele won both races today, but still 2 podiums for you, and you are still leading the championship.
Yes, I still lead in the championship, but I think it was now my weekend. It was good because I didn't lost a lot of points. When we see Gabriele, then the next race will be interesting.
And the battle today, it was a great battle that you were having with Gabriele, but it just seemed the Honda was a little bit quicker today.
Yes, I think was a great battle, correct battle, but it was impossible for me because just in the acceleration out of the hairpin was impossible to stay behind him.
Thank you, Fabrizio.
So Giovanardi, David, I think really enjoying that, judging by the grins and the hand signals, reliving that with Tarquini. But as he said again, you know, it wasn't a vicious, thuggish move. It was going for a gap and being denied it, and they inevitably made contact there. That was always likely to happen down the inside, but great move by Tarquini. That was the couple of laps previously, just touching him, looking for the inside, but Tarquini took 2 victories, and very important victories here indeed. But as he says, if he wins and Giovanardi is second next time out, well, the points stack up still in Giovanardi's favour. But, well, we'll have to await the results at Estoril with interest. There is the move, and that's what left the mark on the side of Giovanardi's car. And in fact, Giovanardi was watching the back of Tarquini's car, I think, bouncing from those hand signals. Great stuff. Well, we've got more touring car action coming as well. We've got the Super Production race in a few moments. But our drivers on the podium. On the right-hand side, third place, Gianluca De Lorenzi, the top amateur. On the left is Fabrizio Giovanardi, and of course the top step of the podium for the double race winner, the man of the weekend, Gabriele Tarquini. And full marks indeed to all 3 men and the rest of Phil for producing from Sparkling Racing. We'll be back with more after the break. Don't forget, we are the car guys at Eurosport.com if you want to email us. Stay with us as we return live from Jarama after this.